Greetings from Costa Rica, folks. This is Matt Rosensteel, owner-broker of Latitude 10 Realty, bringing you yet another informative Wednesday night live Costa Rica chat with Costa Rica Matt. We handle the most important topics here. We make sure that everybody has information that's relevant and impactful to their lives as they consider moving to Costa Rica. And we always want to cover the most difficult, controversial topics, really dig into the meat and bones of what's happening in society here. So tonight in this live Costa Rica chat, we'll be covering going to the beach here in Costa Rica and finding spectacular hidden beaches for you and your family to enjoy. Stay tuned. It's the high season here in Costa Rica, especially in Guanacaste, the Western Peninsula, where tourists have flocked to the coast. In Tamarindo, you have an electronic music festival. The town is absolutely full with tourists. There are traffic jams, people coming and going at all hours, parties. It is really a crazy environment. For a lot of people, that doesn't sound like the absolute perfect way to spend your Costa Rica vacation. And if you're like us and you're looking for somewhere quieter, this episode is dedicated to you. We want to help people find beaches in Guanacaste that aren't quite so overcrowded and give you some simple ideas for how you can go exploring and find somewhere that even on, what's the date today? January 12th. Even on January 12th, you have plenty of opportunity to relax and enjoy yourselves with almost nobody around. Tonight, I want to give tips on finding the secluded beaches in Guanacaste, the places that people want to visit to actually get to know what Costa Rica means, and how to find those spots that won't annoy you because they're flooded with tourists, even when it's January. And
I have something to add. I think Matt should also talk about methods for cleaning off sand after you've been to the beach, because now we've heard of a couple, we use one ourselves. There are a few you can try, so
we'll totally address that as well.
It's important, especially if you have kids.
especially if you have
my kids.
Yeah. So let's talk about finding great beaches here in Guanacaste. Good evening, folks. One of my primary goals tonight is to help people feel comfortable exploring Guanacaste, Costa Rica, as you look around for those undiscovered beaches. You'll come down to Liberia, fly in, and most tourists coming to Guanacaste will end up landing in a resort, a big hotel, all kinds of places where they don't get access to what Guanacaste really has to offer, which, to be honest, for Anne-Marie and me, is a huge, beautiful coastline that is almost 100% uninhabited, or rather a place where the beaches are not overdeveloped. A lot of people want, I get a lot of inquiries saying, I want to find those secret spots in Guanacaste or in some part of Costa Rica, and people don't really understand how to do that for themselves. So tonight, I want to give some pointers on how you can find those amazing secluded beach retreats, either here in the Nicoya Peninsula of Costa Rica or other areas of the country, because it's one of the most special possible experiences of visiting this country to be able to do that. Before we get too far into things, let's go right into the overall principle of the beaches here in Costa Rica. Everybody should understand out there that Costa Rica is secure enough for for you to wander off the beaten path and go find a secluded beach without having to worry about any kind of real physical danger. You know, the easy way to put it is that you have to worry 100% about your gadgets being stolen, your valuables, your passports. Crimes of opportunity are what happen here in Guanacaste and most of Costa Rica. And so if you want to go exploring and try and find these undiscovered places, really, you don't have to worry about wandering off into some area where you're in danger because it's not secure. If you follow some very simple steps and just not leave yourself vulnerable to these petty crimes where people take laptops, cell phones, etc., out of cars, or easy opportunities, you can absolutely wander off and not have to worry like you might in some other countries in Central America, and even in places in the United States of America or Canada. You don't have to worry about your real security. You can absolutely head off and feel safe entirely, except for those cell phones getting stolen, your cash, etc. There's another prime driving factor here in Costa Rica that's very important, where public beach access is one of the most important guaranteed principles, ensuring that Costa Ricans and foreigners visiting the country can get to every single beach on the coastline. They have enshrined 100% the ability of people to get to every single different beach along the coast. And so Costa Rica offers a unique opportunity if you're just visiting for the first time, or if you've lived here for a long time. You have just as much of a right to visit every single beach that everybody else does. And so you cannot possibly feel wrong in trying to find these wonderfully secluded spots. In addition, you're 100% guaranteed that there will be road access. In some situations, that road access will be great. In other situations, it will be mediocre. In other situations, it will be downright lousy. But you can be guaranteed that every single beach in Costa Rica has road access to it. And so I feel it's a very tragic situation when people come and visit Costa Rica and say, you know, I really didn't feel like this was an authentic place. I was surrounded by tourists the whole time. I saw surfers. I saw all kinds of traps in my beach community. You know, they really felt like they didn't get to see the real Costa Rica. Well, I'm here to tell you tonight that 100% you can venture out of your all-inclusive resort. You can venture out of Tamarindo or Potrero or Flamingo. Any area of the coast, you can get out of your resort and find some of the most idyllic, perfect beaches that aren't overpopulated. And if you're like me and Anne-Marie, you're dying to see these spots where you can enjoy a jungle-lined beach that isn't swarming with tourists. Finding those beaches that are not swarming with tourists can be a difficult exercise for people who feel a little bit intimidated by Costa Rica. And what I want to do is explain that it's very easy to head out and find those beaches by yourself. My name is Matt Rosensteel. My channel is Costa Rica Matt, and if you feel so inclined to give me a subscribe, please do so. I'll be posting more and more information every single week, hopefully a couple times during the week as well, Tuesdays and Saturdays. But my goal is to help people consider Costa Rica as a perfect place for relocation, or to help people decide that it's not right for them. And tonight, my focus is talking about venturing out into beach communities that are not necessarily those tourism hubs. And again, above all, my purpose is that this is a special opportunity you have in visiting Costa Rica. You may feel that in other countries you would never take your car down a dirty, bumpy road and just try and find a secluded beach to have to yourselves. That's absolutely correct. In many places on earth, you cannot do that. In Costa Rica, you can. The security is great, as I've already emphasized, and you'll also find that every single beach is public here. The diversity of beaches along the coastline is incredible. You'll find people gravitating towards certain places because, oh yeah, Playa Flamingo has a marina. It's white sand and there's tons of condos and a great restaurant there. And you see tourism sort of gravitating towards a single point because there's a million reviews on those restaurants and those condos, and no one in their right mind would then think, okay, I'm in Flamingo. Where can I find that's at the absolute end of the earth that's going to feel like it's a secluded spot here in Guanacaste, and how can I drive to it? And really, I think that it's an accessible adventure for everybody here. One of the first things I want to emphasize if you're visiting Costa Rica and you've got this idea that you want to visit a secluded, non-touristy beach, is that absolutely you do need to be prepared. And in this short clip, I talk about a couple small things, including your car, that you will need to be 100% prepared for your adventure to find secluded beaches that aren't too touristy.
A lot of parking lots in our area feel
Whoops, this one started near the end.
All right, I'm gearing up to explore some local beaches, and first and foremost, wanted to address a very important aspect of doing this, which is the vehicle you need to comfortably explore Guanacaste. It can be very tempting to pick that discount Yaris or very small model car, and actually, nowadays in Guanacaste, you could come and spend most of your time in tourism destinations and be okay with a very small vehicle. But if you really want to try and find some unknown places, some areas that aren't necessarily on the beaten path, you're going to need something larger. And today I'm going to be touring around in our lovely Toyota Land Cruiser Prado, which honestly I would never have if I didn't need it, both for my job and also to be comfortable when you're getting around on these roads. But really, this kind of vehicle can make it so much easier for you to get out and sort of explore Guanacaste, because there are potholes. The dirt roads where you avoid tourism are not necessarily well maintained, and you're not going to have fun out all day exploring if you're in a teeny tiny car rattling around on back roads. Another important item to touch on before I get started is one important packing item. Obviously, I would never go to the beach with anything valuable that I have to leave in my car. There's an absolute rule, no matter where you are, whether it's Tamarindo, Potrero, Flamingo, anywhere that you want to go to a beach, these hidden corners as well, the parking lots are definitely areas where crimes of opportunity happen, and so you need to be prepared to not leave anything in your vehicle while you're out enjoying these beaches. So first of all, this isn't an activity to do while you're out transitioning from one hotel to the other. It's best to do this when you can pack everything away securely and head to the beach with a bag of small amounts of money, your driver's license, and perhaps a credit card. Only take the car key for the vehicle you're using, and just try and minimize what you're carrying with you, so that when you find a beautiful beach, you can park your car, even leave the windows down, as I like to do at a lot of parking lots in our area, feel completely secure, and carry all of your valuables that you need with you while you walk up and down the beach. Let's head out.
So, some simple tips there to start off. If you're gonna try and explore the beaches of Guanacaste, don't do it with the suitcases that you've brought along with you for your whole trip in the back of the car. It can't be emphasized enough that even these quaint, beautiful villages along the sea here in Costa Rica have opportunistic people there that will take valuables out of your car if you've left them there. There would be zero crime along our entire coastline if nobody ever left a passport or cash or credit cards or laptops or iPhones in their car. But people frequently do this to the consternation of everybody who actually lives here. Don't be one of those tourists who provides an opportunity for the local thieves to just take something valuable from you. Be an intelligent visitor who shows up to the beach with absolutely nothing in their car that they would be worried about losing. Obviously, I can give no 100% guarantees, but it's nearly 100% that no one in Costa Rica is going to steal your car during the day from a beach parking lot. That's not going to happen. You can leave your car open. And in fact, my wife and I love to do that so that even with the windows down, somebody might walk by and they get to look at what we have potentially available there. Feel free to leave nothing in your car and the windows down so that any potential maldoer, I don't know if that's a word in English anymore, but my Spanish is coming through there, but anybody who might come across and think that, buy your car and think they want to take something, you've got your windows open and absolutely nothing there to carry. You're in the clear. They're not going to take your car. They're absolutely looking for those opportunities where other tourists have left their valuables there. If you want to go out exploring, make sure that where you go, you won't have to leave anything in your car that's so valuable that you wouldn't be able to lose it, because you'll be able to go out and explore beaches instead of having to stay close to your stuff. Let's go on and talk about the geography of our area. Obviously, I'm normally talking about Guanacaste, Costa Rica, to show you the map here and what we're looking at. When you're thinking about exploring beaches here, you should know that there is no definition on Google Maps as to what roads are paved and what roads are not paved. And in fact, you have to rely almost entirely on local intelligence to understand exactly which roads are good and which roads are not going to get you to your destination quickly. You will see that in Guanacaste specifically, there is a system of highways that are sort of spurs, paved roads bringing out to people out to the coast in specific spots that are important. There's a paved highway, for example, up towards Playa Flamingo. This is absolutely paved. The road out towards Grande is 100% paved until you get very much into the community right here. Your next paved spur comes down from Villarreal out to Tamarindo. And then really you don't see pavement that goes out to beach communities until you come out to this intersection, which is 27 de Abril or 27th of April, and head out to the coast again. And while you might think looking at this map, oh, this road is definitely paved, number 160 heading down here, you'd be absolutely wrong. The paved highway continues west by southwest here out towards Junquillal. And this is actually the spur of the road that would be most valuable to come out and visit beaches here. If you go even further south, you have to wait until you go out to Nicoya, the next major road junction as you head south on the Peninsula Highway, to take a paved highway out to the beach at Samara. And this is an incredibly important route down here and sort of representative of how the highway system works. This highway is entirely paved down to Samara, number 150. This yellow road between Venado and Samara itself is entirely unpaved. And if you tried to explore down to Ostional via either this route or that route, you'd find yourselves on a long dirt road, which is mainly to say, we've got another paved highway, sorry to keep going on, down south here in the peninsula. But mainly, the important thing to consider is that not all roads in Costa Rica are paved, and most of the beach communities that you want to go to, the easily accessible places, are at a paved junction. And from there, you have to venture into dirt potholed roads to find these special beach communities that are off the beaten path. Really, you'll see that if you find yourself in a paved town, you're probably not going to find a special corner of Costa Rica right there, because the percentage of paved roads is very small. And in fact, those highways that are paved are absolutely connecting tourism hubs. So essentially, if you look around and you see a highway, you can assume that this is 100% a discovered corner of Costa Rica, and you're not going to find that special secluded beach experience that you were hoping for. That being said, these paved hubs are very valuable. And no matter where you're visiting, whether it's up towards Nicaragua in the north or Panama in the south, you can land in one of these communities with a paved highway at it. To be able to find the special, secluded, off the beaten path beaches and get to that real Pura Vida Costa Rica, you're going to have to leave that pavement. You should do it from a spur. And for example, to show you what I was looking at in driving around, here are some of the roads you'll be looking at to drive between these unpaved communities. In this video that I'm showing, I'm driving from Playa Blanca, which is the beach I'll show you in just a moment, to another beach called Playa Callejones, through the kinds of back roads that you'll see if you want to find one of these special corners of Guanacaste or Costa Rica. You definitely shouldn't be surprised to find yourself in one of these areas. And the road that I'm on is, in fact, in great condition compared to many of the areas you might have to explore. But for example, if you look at where I'm driving right now, you might figure, this doesn't look like it connects anything. And if you've asked your local intelligence and if you've tried to explore the area a bit more, as we pull up in the next beach as I drive along here, you'll see that there are a million hidden corners in this country. And there goes a green truck. Shout out to Chris and Cheryl, who probably are not watching, but they drove past there. If you head down this kind of dirt road, if you hug the coastline as you explore north or south from wherever your hub is, you might find these absolutely idyllic spots tucked away on what seem like very basic rural roads. They're amazing beaches and they feel like absolute paradise, but Costa Rica has so many of them that really there's no way that all of them will have a paved highway to them within any reasonable time frame. So you have to be willing to venture off those paved roads, check out the dirt rural roads that are off those main spurs, and venture to the north and south of what you might find in major areas to look for places like this, which is Playa Callejones, where I'm arriving right now in the video, an absolutely spectacular, and we just got a little shot there, a spectacular little beach, a cove where you can swim easily, a good fishing village, somewhere that's wonderful for visitors that you might never find if you hadn't just driven up that road and tried to look for yourself. Which brings me to one of my most important points that I wanted to make tonight. If you want to find these places and you're looking for secluded beaches, really your first step is to find a boutique hotel in Costa Rica that's outside of a major tourism area, that's well reviewed. And literally, if I wanted to just spend 2 weeks on the most amazing beaches on earth, I might look up and down the coastline in Costa Rica's western coast because it's easier with weather. Find a, like I said, well-reviewed, high-rated Airbnb boutique hotel on some isolated-looking beach. And I might just book 3 nights right there, because from that boutique hotel, you're going to be able to talk to the owners, and they're going to tell you every hidden secret right within their area. And like I showed you here, we were driving up to an absolute off the beaten path kind of place here in Playa Callejones. A local hotel, the people who rent rooms in this area could tell you how to find this spectacular beach. You wouldn't find this anywhere near the Marriott or the Papagayo Tourism Peninsula. Hi to Paul, who just walked by my window. You wouldn't find those near the major hotels, but land yourself in a small family-run boutique hotel and ask them exactly where this kind of beach can be found, because 100% it's there. And if you get yourself into an area where you're not in a major tourism hub, you can find this kind of beach available. Next, I want to talk about one thing. When you do find this beach, you've gone out with your boutique hotel, you've arrived at the perfect spot.
And here's
what you might see.
Anywhere that you see a parking guard working, even if you're well prepared and you don't have to leave a lot of stuff in your car, it's always great to tip them. They usually charge 1,000 colones. And even though they're not sanctioned by any government entity, they're out here basically just making a living as a very minimal wage employee, trying to be useful in the economy, and frankly, it's a huge service. The parking lots where you have a guard working have 0 break-ins, generally speaking, and the places where they aren't working are where everybody is vulnerable to getting their car broken into. Wow, it is getting pretty hot here.
So that was me parking at a local place near our white sand beach in Playa Blanca. Definitely, if you go to an area and you see a parking guard working there, just give them the $2 that they're asking for. I see more things in online forums cursing, frustrated about these parking guards because they can seem a bit abrasive. They come up to your window and they try to convince you to give them money because, yes, these parking guards are working there with no expectation of a salary. They do not have any support from the government, and even the local town council is at best only approving what they're doing. But that parking guard at one of these pristine beaches might be stopping robberies all day from cars and allowing people to enjoy a beach that otherwise would be, frankly, a pain in your rear if you tried to pull up and park and leave your car completely unattended. Now, again, as I mentioned in the first clip, you shouldn't take anything valuable that you have to leave in your car to the beach. And so, it can seem like overkill to have a guard at the parking lot. But honestly, given the amount of money that these people are asking for the service that they're providing, it's a difference between night and day where everybody should pitch in their $3 to $4 to keep a guard at the lot and make it so that people can come and go and enjoy this perfect beach on a public road with public access all day and not have to worry about their possessions in their car. If I could pass any legislation in Costa Rica, it would be to encourage more of this, because you do see the petty thievery, people taking whatever gadget tourists leave in their car out of it, really affecting people's experience here in Costa Rica. They come and they want to absolutely have this experience of swimming at a secluded beach, and they would never think that they could possibly get robbed at one of these secluded areas. And really, it's a huge problem, like I mentioned, because other people have left their cell phones, wallets, iPads, laptops in their cars in this parking lot before you arrived. So it's not that Costa Rica is a bad country, it's that robbers have a quick idea as to how they can make some money. This parking lot is frequently a source of free gadgets, and so they gravitate towards it. If you see a guard taking care of the lot, it's in your absolute best interest to pay them, keep them there for your car, and make them feel like they have ownership over it. I would never ever debate the fee that people ask of me. If they want to say it's 2,000 colones or $3.50, which you do see in some tourism areas, I decide to either park there and pay them the fee, or to move to a different lot and look for my own parking space. Because even though they're not sanctioned by the government, they're entirely informally employed. The parking guards here in Costa Rica really do prevent a significant crime from happening. And for $3.50, I feel that it's pretty worth it to have everything in my car entirely cared for. And I feel that it's worth it to have the guard there so that the parking lot isn't even really a target to begin with. If you keep this person employed and standing there, over time, thieves are going to focus on it less, and it's just a good cycle whereby everybody could be keeping their stuff in their cars someday and some dream come true. We'll see if that ever happens in Costa Rica. Bitcoin King, I absolutely agree that dirt roads lead you to some of the best destinations. And if anybody visits Costa Rica and has the capacity to get off those paved roads outside of those, 5-star hotels, I think you should, because you can have some of these absolutely gorgeous experiences. And I'm trying to bring up here, StreamYard's not necessarily participating or helping me out. One of the places that we absolutely love to go to that exemplifies the diversity of beaches is Playa Blanca. In our area, and really in every place in Costa Rica, the beaches vary greatly from one to the next. It sounds simple, but there would be tourists who come here and say, I went to Potrero, it was black sand, there were no waves, I hated it, it was boring, and I wish I would have never gone to Costa Rica. But they don't know that just north of Potrero, there are some idyllic hidden beaches that are gray sand and even closer to white that make it feel entirely different. You'll see 1 mile to the next along the coastline, 3 or 4 different beaches that have a totally different character and can be really an amazing way, to get the diversity of what you can see along the coastline here. I'm still trying to click on one particular video that I wanted to show. Let's look here. Oh, that's Playa Callejones coming up. Trying to get here we
The
go.
amazing thing about Guanacaste's beaches, just to the north and just to the south of us, are beaches that are entirely different than the one you see behind me. This gorgeous white sand beach is nestled along a stretch of coastline that you'd probably never hear of, and tucked among a bunch of different beaches that each have their own characteristics. In any given area along the coast, you're gonna find a huge variety of beaches. It's not like there is only one type within a certain community. And really, one of the wonderful things that you can find by getting out and sort of looking in these off-road spots are that, yes, there are absolutely idyllic, unknown beaches, some of them white, some of them black sand, some of them covered in shells, all over the place, and you shouldn't be pigeonholed into.
Whoops. I edited out the clip where I said you shouldn't be pigeonholed into thinking you only have access to one kind of beach. If you're staying in Flamingo and you like the white sand and you like the tourism, but you think you'd like to find something with fewer people, head 10 minutes to the north, park your car on a rural road, and you will absolutely find a totally different experience. And that's an extreme example, but throughout Guanacaste, you're going to find even the next block or 2 blocks has really different beaches, so that you don't necessarily have to stay, okay, this is a surfer's beach, I'm in Playa Negra, and there's absolutely amazing waves. Literally, if you leave Playa Negra to the south, you walk around the point, there's a beginner surfer's beach. Then the next beach south would be a sort of rocky swimmer's beach. Then the next beach south is a white sand Playa Blanca that I just showed here. The next beach south is Playa Junquial, which is an extremely broad, sandy beach that's great for walking and terrible for surfing. The next beach south from that is a tiny, idyllic, cone-shaped, great beach for swimming called Playa Honda, and on and on and on down the coastline. It's a diversity of beaches that's amazing. And hopefully, if you're visiting, you'll be able to find something, see that diversity rather than just get stuck into one thing. To give you some ideas, I know I wanted to touch on, what we're looking at here in Guanacaste and some of the best beaches to visit, not only here, but around Costa Rica, to give you an absolute quick idea of what we're looking at. And I've got to pull up maps again so that we can share this. Here we go. Here are some of the beaches that I would absolutely recommend visiting if you're coming to Guanacaste and you don't necessarily want to be in those absolute tourism towns. You want to find a secluded, more authentic spot. Let's start up absolutely to the furthest north of my range. I help clients buy property as far north as Potrero. I've gone as far north as Coco, but let's look really in this sort of range of coastline here. If you're coming down from Flamingo and you want to try and find a secluded, idyllic beach here in our area, well, there's a couple options to the north. Playas Prieta and Penca, just to the north of Potrero, which are beaches that you would have to take a little bit of effort to find, but really that, as I mentioned, they're accessible 100% because of Costa Rica's national beach accessibility laws. Those 2 spots would be great areas to find much quieter beaches. Even in Flamingo, there's a somewhat private beach that people, really talk a lot about because there's not so much access from tourism. You can see in this little cove here, just to the north of Flamingo's North Ridge, This little stretch of sand, which is only accessible by a couple of private points, difficult to find access points, is a world different than Flamingo Beach over here, which is an absolutely famous tourism hub. It's crazy to think that, just over here on the North Ridge, you've got a secluded stretch of sand that feels like not necessarily the greatest beach on earth, but a place that's not swarming with tourists. And then, yes, down here, you've got Jimmy Buffett's rebranded resort, 5 o'clock somewhere. This is the name on Google Maps, but Flamingo Beach down here. And then even thinking about areas, if we were moving further to the south here on the peninsula, there's an entirely undeveloped stretch of land between Brasilito here to the north and Playa Ventanas and Playa Grande down here to the south. This particular little corridor is a number of wonderfully undeveloped, idyllic beaches that, for example, if you come out to Matapalo, you've got your paved highway out to Playa Grande. The pavement goes all the way here to Matapalo. And if you head out towards these beaches in this area, you can find absolutely perfection, idyllic areas that feel like you're in the lost world, even though you're a short distance from some very popular tourism hubs. To the north, Playa Conchal, and to the south, Playa Grande and Playa Tamarindo. Now let's move south of Tamarindo. Obviously, I'm biased, and this is my corridor. This is where I feel most at home. But this would be a perfect stretch where you can find unending opportunities to get away from huge tourism beaches and find your perfect spot. Playa Avellana, right here, just to the south of Tamarindo, is honestly becoming a pretty big tourism hub. And you're seeing, the other day when we were out there at Lola's, a landmark restaurant, we were seeing extremely big traffic and a ton of people there. If we had been so inclined and we wanted to escape, we could have followed those rural roads, just like I did in the video driving from Playa Blanca to a different one. We could have come just south here, hugged the coast, and gone down to Playa Lagartillo, where I guarantee you not a single human being was getting served a margarita or pina colada. This beach would have felt absolutely different and entirely secluded compared to the area just, half a mile north of us in Playa Avellanas, up here where you've got Lola's and La Porruja, a new restaurant, right on the beach and a ton of activity. Literally, it's a matter of driving yourselves a mile or so south, being brave enough to, follow your hearts and come out here to the beach where you would have an opportunity to experience something absolutely secluded and idyllic on Playa Lagartillo. If you wanted to go further south, we're hitting Playa Negra, which is a world-famous surf spot. You would see right here at the hotel at Playa Negra, there's going to be a ton of surfers, a lot of people enjoying themselves when you've got high tide, etc. But really, if you even come just a tiny bit south on this same coastal road that I was driving, leave Hotel Playa Negra, take a quick turn south on this dirt rural road that I'm tracing here with the computer, you would come down to Playa Callejones, which is the subject of that little video clip where I stopped, and you'd find almost nobody visiting any time except for the peak times of tourism in the year, and you could get that absolutely escape idyllic experience. And it goes like that on down the coast. Playa Blanca here is extremely secluded. I was out there taking a video. Playa Blanca is only a couple minutes from Playa Negra, where you'd see a ton of tourists. The north side of Playa Junquial only has a few people on it routinely, whereas the south side, as you get down to some more major parking lots down here, you get to start seeing more and more people. And really, it's just a question of that as you go down the coastline and look for your absolutely perfect spot. Here at the main parking lot in Junquial, for sunset, you're going to see 13, that's a weird number to guess, a dozen, 12, 15, 20 cars. If you're willing to come just a tiny bit further south, if you know the roads and you're willing to explore a little bit, you can come down to this cove where there might be absolutely no one, just because you've driven down to this parking lot and found a special spot versus a more accessible area. And like I said, going up and down Guanacaste, you're going to see the absolute same effect where there are major tourism hubs, places where people gravitate. There's food, amenities, hotels, etc. And if you're willing to drive a little bit outside of those areas, you can find extremely perfect Costa Rica beach experiences without being a local expert. You can do this because, first of all, the country is absolutely safe enough for you to explore. You don't have to worry here that if you turn off some wrong road, you're going to end up cut up and thrown in a dumpster. This is a place where most likely if you turn down the wrong road, an old lady is going to invite you to her version of soup and try and help you find, whatever you were looking for. So you're very, very safe. Second of all, you're guaranteed that wherever you are on the coast, you have public access to the beach. It may be hard to find the road down to the sand so that you can actually get to that particular beach. But if you probe around and drive your car, hopefully a decent 4x4, you'll be able to find access to any beach. And anywhere in the country that someone tells you that you're not allowed to be there, they are 100% wrong, and you have the right to be on that beach. So don't feel at all scared to go out exploring and finding these experiences that people want. Really, the places where you're not going to be overwhelmed with tourists, because one of the most special things about visiting Costa Rica is getting to have this experience where you're not necessarily overwhelmed by tourists on the ocean. I've been to a few other places, in Florida, etc. And one of the things that routinely strikes me about Costa Rica is the very low population density, the few people you're going to see on some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. As we tune out tonight, I wanted to add just a quick clip that I took a couple hours before I started broadcasting tonight. Sunset on one of these absolutely perfect beaches here, to show you what's accessible and what's really not too hard to find. You don't have to be in an all-inclusive resort. You don't have to be in a gated community here. You can go find a perfect beach somewhere in Costa Rica to truly enjoy yourself. And if you're looking for that perfect beach, if you decided that the Nicoya Peninsula, our area, is where you want to move, do be sure to send me an email to matt@lat10realty.com. That's my address. As I sign off with one beautiful clip from our beach sunset here, if you've decided that this area is right for your investment, don't hesitate to reach out to me to talk about the real estate on this market. We'll go ahead and watch sunset here at Playa Junquial, one of 1,000 idyllic beaches that you can find in Costa Rica with not too much effort.